guys to get a lot of credit is Steve Blackman from Muscular Development. I mean, those guys have done an extraordinary job for years and years and years to promote health, to promote fitness, to promote strength, to promote bodybuilding, powerlifting, weightlifting, and all of those kind of things. So the contributions they made is gigantic, and I hail them for that.
Did all the sound effects myself, me and my little cassette player, and start and stop, no cell phones, all this kind of stuff. We ain't talking that. But we were able to put together a routine within 1 week, and it was exactly that terminated routine. And ladies and gentlemen, it took me around the world for 15 years, because everywhere I went, standing ovations. Nobody sat down. And that was a contribution to what they liked, and I kind of took it from them. So keep giving them what they like.
Well, normally, Vince, I'd call you off the big the rousing applause. However, I got to get some of that Terminator routine, man. I got it. Oh, yeah. I don't think we have any music stuff we can put on, but
ladies and gentlemen,
I got a whole bunch of people. We get some rhythmic clapping going on here. Give me some clap. Somebody start the clap.
Don't even stop, because at 62 years old,
give me a clap. Black folks, not the white folks. Gonna give him something. There we go. Come on, give me some Terminator move. Come on, give me something. There we go. Who can do a beatbox, right? Kai, help me out here. Give me some beat. You can't do that. I got 18 brothers up there. What's going on there, champ?
I'm doing great. How about you, Bobby?
I'm doing great. You know, another Arnold Classic championship. Memories of the Arnold obviously have to be almost first and foremost in your mind, if not.
Yeah.
Much like Vince had held that title of all-time wins, you held on to 4 Arnold Classic titles. Now again, folks, this is before there was any other Arnold. There was only this one right here. Which, by the way, I know you guys who have won this title, you don't really count the other ones, do you? I mean, when you guys count Arnold wins, really this is the one that counts the most. Is that still correct?
Yes, because we didn't do the other ones, but obviously Dex is going to count because he won.
Yeah, you know what? Dexter said the same thing. He goes, really counts.
Well, if we want to go there, I mean, me and Vince were just talking about his son. You know what happened when we were in our prime. You wasn't even there, so let's just be nice up here, okay? We got pictures of us standing together. I mean, no, let's stop. But go ahead. So we talking about it. Very much so.
Well, Flex, listen, there was, obviously, as everybody knows, there's the Arnold, there's the Olympian. The Olympic title was right there. Your finger was in the brass ring, and this guy next to you over here kind of, you know, changed that up. Yeah, just keep tweeting. It's okay, man. Don't worry about it. Social media is king. So, the Flex, the Arnold, when it came to the Arnold, you were unbeatable. Every time you got on that
show, I met Mike Francois over here.
Yeah, well, you know, we're going to get to him next. Yeah. Merciless Mike. Give me some of your first thought, your first Arnold win, very first time. You're an emotional guy. We've interviewed 1,000 times. I've known you for 25 years. What was the emotions on that moment when you were standing there and that announcement was made and here comes Arnold with the trophy?
You know, to be honest, and not to be long-winded, unlike a lot of the other guys up here, I'm not really a historian when it came to the sport. You know, I couldn't afford magazines or anything like that, so I didn't know that much about it, so I didn't know the history of it. And when I turned pro, I did the Ironman because it's right in my backyard. I lived in Los Angeles. And I had the honor of watching Vince and Sean compete. So the next thing to do was to go into the Arnold Classic. It was just a week later. So my very first show, I was competing against Lee Labrada, and I was terrified. And then I had Lee Labrada and Vince Taylor to deal with the Arnold. So honestly, in my ignorance, I'm like, you know, these guys are champions. I'm just up here just to have fun. So to win, I wasn't even aware what I had achieved, because I wasn't aware of the sport or anything like that. So I think the innocence of it actually helped me to do better, because I wasn't scared. I was just like, I'm just here.
You didn't know these guys. I mean, you knew them, but you didn't know the magnitude of bodybuilding history.
Not at all. I didn't at all. No, not at all. So it was just great. But again, I have to be honest. I didn't think really any big deal of it, because I didn't really know what I had achieved. So honestly.
I believe it. I believe it. No. One thing about Flex, you'll get pure honesty. You know, whether it's good or bad. Like you said, you put it all out there in books and things. And some of the stuff you're not proud of, but you said, look, this was my life. I'm a different guy today than I was then. You even said it in prior interviews. You know, you're like, I didn't like the Flex we were back then. You know,
of course, I mean, you know, unlike a lot of these other guys, again, I mean, I come from, you know, humble beginnings, you know, welfare, homeless, and stuff like that. So, you know, when you get propelled into the limelight, I didn't know really how to control myself as a youth and everything. I was pretty hard in the streets and stuff like that. So that's just the way I was. But you know, I grew up under the lights, so I had to learn a lot of things. So, but it was just great. But like I said, it's an honest story, just to show no matter where you come from doesn't mean where you're going to end up at. And I think that's a contribute to all of us up here.
Flex, I'm going to skip ahead to your fourth Arnold Classic title. You were in uncharted waters. Nobody had ever won 4, but you did.
I was arrogant then. Yeah, I knew what I was doing.
You knew. By that time, you knew the lay of the land and who you were competing against. How were you different as a competitor from your first Arnold win to your fourth Arnold win?
Well, I kind of, not knowing, I created this alter ego type person, because in my childhood I was taken advantage of in a number of different ways. So, you know, when I got bigger and started making money, I was put myself out there. I'm not going to be taken advantage of anymore. So I kind of believed that, and I walk, and I talk. So
just to further on that, there was a difference between Kenny Wheeler and Flex Wheeler.
Yeah, definitely. No, I've been claimed to have about 4 or 5 different people inside at various different moments. But anyway, my first 2 shows, or actually my first 4 shows, I made more than anyone else in my entire family tree. So all the weight of that was put on me and everything. But my very last Arnold Classic I had competed on was an emotional time for me, because then I was aware of what was going on and everything like that, and history has been made. So, but it was an emotional time, as you guys all seen. I cried like a baby, you know. Hugging Chris Cormier up there and everything like that. But it was a great journey. But I have to first and foremost, you know, give respect to Dexter again, like Sean said, just unbelievable. I remember, you know, me and Dexter actually having an argument at Ronnie's show, and you know, Dexter being his typical self, as we've seen, shooting his mouth off. And back then, you know, I was quick to shoot back, and we're having an argument. And I forgot what he said. And I said, Dexter, you know, if you ever think you'll break any of my records, you know, wake up and slap the shit out of yourself. And here he is, broken everyone's record. So again, just unimaginable, you know, ride that you had, bro. Just an amazing. You should be very proud of yourself where you come from. Definitely. So I got to tip my hat to you. Just epitome of what bodybuilding can do in age.
Which is more amazing considering that most of us are the same age. Sean, myself, you, Kevin.
No, Rich is really old.
That's a couple years behind. But amazing to even think at 48.
I don't know if he's 48, because Tommy was telling me he's been 48 for like 2 years now. We need that.
You shaving stuff off there?
Yeah. No. We need a record.
Yeah. Okay. Dennis, he shaved a few points off there, but that's all right. But listen, anywhere even close to 50, to actually be up here in contention for the title, can you even imagine still doing this at this level?
No, not at all. Not at all at this level. Probably the only person that came close to that was Vince. I mean, we're not aware of what Vince was doing and how old he was and being competitive. And I even remember, I think it was the San Jose Championship, what place did you get that year? No, I did. No, but he placed really high. I mean, I remember him walking backstage and said, "You guys let this old man whip y'all ass?" But you got to remember his age was 46, 47, and even competing at 50, being competitive, winning the Olympia. So, you know, that's my first inkling of what a person can do at their age. But what Dexter's done is just amazing. You know, it's just amazing. For Sean being one of the most consistent bodybuilders in history, what Dexter's done now, he's proven how consistent he's been. And he's been probably he's the only competitor who's up on stage who actually competed with the majority of all of us up here, and he's still up here today. So
Well, I think
that's enough on him. Anyway.
Yes, I think you did pretty good yourself in your career, Flex. Obviously, a Hall of Famer. Again, 4 Arnold Classic titles. You came back last year and got back up on the stage. That was a very personal journey for you. It wasn't about the placing. It wasn't about trying to win the thing. You had your own personal reasons for getting on that stage, and I applaud that.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for everything. Enjoy.
Flex Wheeler. Hey, no, man. Always great to see you. You were the new guy in town. I mean, these guys were all competing for many years together. They were the veterans. All of a sudden, here comes this new guy, this Mike guy. I can't pronounce his last name. Mike Francis. You had it all. But you did the unthinkable. You came in with conditioning that probably hadn't been seen since Rich Gaspar. And that was the key to your Arnold Classic victory. But bring me back to that day and your thoughts competing with some of the very guys you see here. Another outstanding lineup. But with every successive year, getting closer to the late 90s, it got tougher and tougher.
Yeah, it was tough. Like kind of Flex said, I was naive. I didn't even think about who was going to be in the show. I just knew what I had to do and the people I had helping me and the effort I had put in. So I was confident. I'm just one that goes in never thinking necessarily that I'm going to win, but in my heart out there, I think I'm the best. Even though I may not say that or act like I do, but that was always my philosophy because I never thought that, I would never even be in bodybuilding, so anything I do was really gravy. And so I didn't get too nervous because I guess I was naive.
Usually the best remedy in bodybuilding that keeps the nerves down, better than not knowing, than to realize where you're at and the magnitude of the competition and who's surrounding you. Take me back to the actual moment as you're competing, all right? You're getting call-outs, things are going on, and back then they used to mix it up a lot more. In some respects I kind of like that because you didn't really know who was going to place where. It was just a bunch of mix and match of call-outs and things. Where did you think you were during the competition? I mean, obviously you knew you were probably doing well. Did you think you were actually in the lead? Did you think, well, maybe I'll crack the top 5? Where was your mentality at that point?
I could tell from the call-outs it was Flex for myself, and obviously, Flex Wheeler, it's, you think he's, I don't necessarily think he was going to beat me, but I knew he was too, and you're always nervous until they finally make the decision. So I knew it was going to be tough to earn the season champ, and just locked in.
I mean, it's got to be something as you're standing. Like you said, you were a little naive yourself to the whole game, but you knew who Flex Wheeler was, clearly. And here it's down to you two. And you got to be looking, because as bodybuilders, for any of us that have ever competed, you always think the other guy looks better. Right. No matter how good you look at, whether you nail it, you're 100%, you're backstage, you're looking at somebody else going, I don't know. This guy's big, man, he looks good. What did you think at that moment? Did you think you had him, or did you think, maybe it's my day?
I hate saying that, but I think you said take the check.
So Flex, you had a feeling that Mike had you that day.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? It doesn't enter my mind, I guess. I just know I'm doing my thing, whatever happens, happens. But I was confident. Let's just say that.
Well, Mike, unfortunately, your career got cut short, as most people know by now, due to some health issues that you had. That really had to kind of hit you hard. I mean, you were literally at the peak of your game when, unfortunately, these things occurred that forced you to have to retire from the stage. But obviously, that memory of being the Arnold Classic champion that year will always be first and foremost, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it is. And, I had colitis, and it runs on both sides of my family. So the same genetics that were allowed me to be a professional bodybuilder, the same ones that gave me that, so I can't complain. But, so it was something that was tough to overcome, and I just wasn't able to come back from that. And, but I was, looking back, I'm very grateful for what I was able to achieve. Yeah, I got cut short, and I wish I could have won 4 or 5 more, 5, 6, and maybe done better in the but it didn't happen. Life goes on. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have my boys, and my family would be with me too. So, I'm proud of that.
One of the all-time greats, Mike Francois. Please introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Ronnie Coleman, 8 times. Kind of boring after so long, but thank y'all for coming out and staying so long and listening to us be as boring as we possibly can be. But they just say Arnold is coming up in 15 minutes, so be a little bit more patient, please.
Hey, he's just going to have to wait, all right? It is what it is. They got champs to get to. Speaking of champs, somewhere in between all your Olympia titles, you found time to actually get on an Arnold stage, which at the time you got criticized for. People thought maybe it was a bad move. What's he doing? He's the champ. Why put your title on the line if he gets beat? All that stuff. You didn't care about any of that stuff. But what, as Mr. Olympia at the time, what made you want an Arnold Classic title?
Well, Mr. Jim Lorman called me and told me he was giving away a Hummer, and I always wanted one, so I'm like, I'm in.
You know, I always love you for that, Ronnie. Again, we've done many interviews together. You actually got into bodybuilding. For what reason?
Well, this guy told me he'd give me free membership to the gym. And at the time, I was real poor, and I couldn't afford a membership, so I'm like, you had me at free, buddy. But it took some, some convincing because my first day there, he told me I could be Mr. Olympia. I'm like, what is that? Never heard of that title. Second day there, he's like, you could be world champion. I'm like, I don't think so. My third day there, he's like, I'm telling you, you can do this. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do this. I'm a police officer. And I like eating hamburgers and pizza and all that kind of stuff.
So was Vince, but he wasn't doing that for 20 years.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. And the fourth day, he said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you free membership to the gym if you compete. I'm like,
done.
You had me at free.
So you got into competing for a free membership, and you went in the Arnold because he was giving away a Hummer.
Exactly.
Well, listen, as it would turn out, a lot of people dispute where the best Ronnie Coleman has ever been on stage. Some people say 98, some people, but a lot of people say 2001 Arnold stage. What do you say?
I'm going to have to kind of agree with him. That was one of my best looks.
That's a tough one, and I've asked you this before, Ronnie. So if I line up all the Ronnie Colemans on stage from the Olympics, all you guys against each other, who wins?
Me, every time.
Sorry, got that right.
Sorry, Arnold.
No doubt about it. Ronnie, obviously everybody knows your story. And unfortunately, you've had some injuries that have required major surgeries over the last couple years.
Like 8 of them?
Yeah, and another, unfortunately, I was just talking to Ronnie earlier, and the 9th one coming up this week.
Yeah, Thursday, and I just got out of the hospital Friday.
I mean, aren't they using strong enough screws? How do you keep snapping screws that they keep putting in you?
I don't think they made screws for a guy like me. I'm like one of a kind, I think. I snapped like 2 or 3 of them so far. And I keep snapping, so hopefully they come up with something that's going to work for me, because I'm tired of all these surgeries, for sure.
Oh, Ronnie, I'm going to let you cut you short, because I know you want to probably get back.
It's every time anyway.
Yeah, it is. One of the best of all time, Ronnie Coleman. Well, Jay, obviously you got a few Olympic titles yourself. You got a little bit different story than some of the guys, and that is that you're pretty much a working man's bodybuilder. You actually built your fan base by losing to Ronnie Coleman every year. Well, it's true. We say that with all due respect, of course, but you did. You became the people's champion. Listen, everybody likes the champ to lose. They love to take a guy who's won it 5, 6, 7 times, and it's kind of natural. You want to kind of see a new champ. You want to see him beat. You know, it's the underdog type of thing. But you actually built your fan base with that. You built, the structure of your career, the pillars of your career on that, and then obviously, in your own right, started to get those titles. You pretty much won every title in the game, Jay. Where does the Arnold rank up in there with the Olympia wins and everything else?
Well, I just want to say thanks for coming out and listening. And thank you for everyone that we share the stage with, because I'm looking at this side along with Kevin. These were my idols when I was telling Rich yesterday, and I watched his program on it was ESPN when I watched it, and it was well, whatever it was, I think it was on Blues and Rich show at the time. And I remember sitting with his family and saying, I'm going to win the first Arnold Classic, and of course, being an Arnold fan, watching all these other guys come through the process. Looking at the magazine, which was our only outlet back in those days, I was a huge fan of it. I was able to, get on the stage and compete as an amateur and easily work my way through the pros, to the pro stage, because I went through contests from amateurs to actually turn pro. And then I had to stand next to the lights, and I remember meeting Flex Wheeler for the first time in '93 when I was a teenager, and Mike Francois was a huge mentor of mine, watching his programs, and of course, getting to this one. I had a battle with him, but the Arnold Classic was one of the most prestigious shows. It was #1 and Arnold was #2. So when I had that chance to be at that level and be able to stand on Arnold Classic stage at the Veterans Memorial, it was a huge opportunity for me to do that. And of course, today, representing the show, it was, it's prestigious as obviously you can possibly get. So I was able to come win 3 years in a row.
Be very careful what you say.
And I like the Hummer trucks too, because I won 3 of them.
You sure did. We're getting bombed by the government. He's coming for you, don't worry. Well, Jay, you wanted an equal number of Arnold wins to Olympia wins, or something that was kind of cool. Obviously, your career was outstanding. Like I said,
well, at least I won 3 and 3.
Yeah. You had the 3 and 3, and then you got the other Olympia. So
extra took one, but
Ronnie, quick to point out how many you've won. By the way,
I know.
It's very honorable. That's right. Well, Jay, you continue to be one of the favorites, one of the fan favorites, despite the fact you've been off the stage for a few years now, in retiring, not from bodybuilding, but from competing. Big difference because you're still as active as ever with travel, and obviously all your enterprises with anything from clothing to everything else that you sell, in your web presence, especially your social media presence. So congratulations, Jay, because you continue to be an ambassador for one of the best we've ever had out there. That's all you hear from people. Jake Cutler, one of the most well-spoken, best ambassadors of bodybuilding, I think has to be applauded.
Well, listen, I couldn't have done it all without the fan base. We've seen these great non-committed stars coming out year to year and supporting all the athletes, the newer guys coming in, and we couldn't do it without the fans. So I'm all about the fans and giving back, and I'll continue to do that until the end of time.
Thank you, Jay. What's up, champ? Tired. One difference is between yesterday and today is obviously with each year it gets a little bit more tiring battling with these young guys on here. You and William had a great battle last night. That was close, Dex. Very close. It was close after prejudging. It was even closer. I thought you sharpened up at night a little bit, which made it a little bit closer even more. Smoke clears, you're still in the runner-up position, which you can't be, you have to be disappointed on one hand, but not on the other. Where are you at, Dex?
We all the champions up here, so if you guys know me, you know my snap stories. I say all the time that every show that I get into, I go to win. No matter what I'm doing, I'm trying to win. I could be playing my 5-year-old kid in the game. I'm trying to win. You know what I'm saying? So I hate to lose in anything. That's why I guess I've had that sense of thought for coming up through my life, that I've been able to continue to do what I'm doing for so long, and it keeps me motivated.
Well, we talked the other day, in the interview before the competition, and I asked you, everybody asked you, how much longer you got, Dex? How much gas you got in that tank? How many years do you think you can keep going? You were quick to point out, look, I'm at the top of my game still. As long as I'm competitive, as long as I'm staying healthy, which you are, as long as I'm cashing those checks and making a living from the sport that I've devoted my life to, why stop?
Yeah, exactly. Why stop? I'm only 48 years old. That's not old to stand. Of course, it's sports.
I'm only 48 years old. My parents, you know, they've all retired and young. And guess what they're doing now? Doing a little side job somewhere because they're bored. So I said, you know what? While retired, I'm still on top of my game. I'm still placing in the top 6 of the Olympia. You know, so until I get put out of the top 6 of the Olympia, I have no desire to retire. You know what I'm saying?
It's nice to know we're going to have to play it on for some years to come, because I got to be honest, you ain't slowing down, man. I mean, nobody's looking at you going, well, you know, he's still good, but, you know, if you saw him back in the day, you don't get that. You get Dexter's Dexter. I mean, that's kind of become a cliche in bodybuilding.
Well, again, I have to thank my parents for my genetics. That's the main thing. You know, coming up through the years, I didn't have to do no cardio, no abs, none of that stuff. I mean, until 5 years ago, I started doing some of that. You know, so that right there alone makes my lifespan even longer. You know what I'm saying? Because I know guys like Ronnie and doing 2 hours and 3 hours of cardio a day. If I had to do that back then, I would be retired by now too. You know what I'm saying? So
you're on the Arnold program of just skipping dessert.
yeah, exactly. You know, I would eat burgers when I travel. I would just eat a couple of McDonald's burgers in the airport. You know what I'm saying? But I had very blessed genetics, man. I remember when, like Saturday Arnold and the Australia show was the following weekend or something like that, I would come off my diet like last night and I would stay up till Thursday. Then go to Australia and win. But I can't do that now, you know, because I'm smart. I probably can, but I'm smarter. I'm smarter now, so I just need to make sure that I'm still on top of my game, and like I said, I try and win everything I get to.
Well, Dex, you beat the great Flex Wheeler's record in gaining your 5th Arnold Classic Championship title. I know you like to get ribbed about that, but obviously, listen, that's a feat that nobody thought anybody would beat. I think people pretty much thought 4 is going to be about it, and nobody's going to come around and be 5. But you're there.
Yeah, it's pretty. I'm blessed. I mean, 4 Arnold titles, and he probably could have got a couple more. I feel I could have got a couple more as well, but we all feel, like I said. But 4 was the record for many, many years, and our room flex told me. Y'all know what he told me. What'd you say, Flex?
No, like I said, you know, back then it was me and Ronnie, and you know we were just running the game. And Dexter, as aggressive as he is, a little young whippersnapper, you know, shooting his mouth off. You know, I already said it. I said, hey, if you ever think you're gonna break my record, you know, wake up and slap the shit out of yourself. But I guess it's me getting slapped now. So, but again, records are meant to be broken, and I've always said, if anybody was to break my record, I wanted to be you, and you did. So, congratulations.
Thank you. Well, Flex said that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, as many shows as I was competing, I knew I had a shot to do it. You have to compete. You would have to compete as long as I'm competing to be able to break this record. It's really almost as impossible, okay? Because most of the guys, when they start winning the Arnold a couple times, then they become a strong Olympic contender. Then they want to start skipping Arnold. I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? I only won 1. And then that allowed me to say, you know what? Let's go back and do it all over. And that's how I continue doing it.
What's the schedule now? You certainly don't seem like you're slowing down. Australia in 2 weeks? You gonna make the trip?
Australia in 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna sit it out to the Olympia. So, you know, I'm gonna give it all I got for Australia. Everybody know me. I come to win, so maybe I better be ready.
That's a special show for you. I mean, obviously, Australia is quite the flight. You've done this a number, but that's a show you don't miss though, Dex. Like I said, you're going to take the rest of the year off to the Olympia, but you made sure to hit Australia.
I mean, it makes sense. Y'all already in shape, why not? You know what I'm saying? Tony Duke is an amazing promoter. He take care of
He's a great guy.
Like no other promoter, man. So, you know, he scratched my back, I scratch his. And that's how we made a special relationship. Because I've been to Tony's shows about 10 times. And I tell you, man, I really hate flying to Australia. That is the worst flight ever. And I tell myself every year, nah, I'm not going over this year. And Tony always told me, Dix, come on, man. All right, Tony.
You can't say no to Tony. He's literally one of the best guys in the sport. But I know the fans appreciate it, Dex, and you've got a great fan base all around the world. Your favorite moment on the Arnold stage out of all your wins?
My favorite, I would have to say,
I mean, it's tough because you've got your first win ever has always got to be special. I mean, you won the Arnold Classic, but you've got monumental spaces. I mean, you've also got a fifth one that beats the record and puts 5 in your. So that's got to be it's a tough question. But is there any one moment that stands out above the rest of a special moment for you?
Well, the first one, I was always told you never win a big show. So the Arnold was the show that I wanted to win. So that was special in itself. And the next special one, I think, was when I lost the Olympic title. Most people think when people lose, that's on the top. They pretty much going down and retire. So when I won, when I lost it in the Olympic title in 2008, and in 2009, I took a little downslide and wasn't placing as high as I normally do. I'm still top 5 somewhere in there. And I met George a couple years after, and then I won 2013. So that was really special as well because, coming back to win after I was on the downside and contemplating on time. You know what I'm saying? So that was really special. And then 2015, when I broke the record, that was Kirby Flex's record, which was, he's my idol, man, growing up. I mean, that was really, really special. So, I'll have to say those 3. I can't say.
Nor should you, my friend. The Blade, Dexter Jackson. You like the old stories with Arnold? You gotta love them.
Love them. Most of them, but it doesn't hurt to hear them again. Arnold is always good to listen to. His motivation, his passion still for bodybuilding, his passion still wanting to give more, which not a lot of promoters do that. Not a lot of people that have shows, and I want to follow his lead, having my own shows. Same way, raising the money every year for the first pro show in Memphis.
And tell everybody about that. I was going to get to that afterwards, but as long as you brought it up, let's get to that now. Victor has thrown his hand to the promotion ring. We've got IFBB pro qualifying events all over the world now, and you were quick to jump in there and go, hey man, I want mine.
Yeah, I mean, organizations fight, they argue, they break up, and it was good. It was good for us.
Yeah, we're not complaining.
Yeah, it gave us opportunities to have our own shows, put our own shows together, and I'm having a pro show in the Dominican Republic, the Art Coat of Arms. Can't have bodybuilding in the same competitions, but I'm having a 212.
You're putting us out with your buddy John De La Rosa.
John De La Rosa, yes, exactly. And again, first year we have a cap on the monies, but we will be increasing it every year. Again, I don't want to do that show with the same amount of money every year. Again, I want to give more to the bodybuilder, to the physique, to the bikinis, figure girls, anything. Let's keep moving up.
Well, Victor, you had your own moment on the Arnold stage. And you've had some great moments in your career. We lost Jay, but I was going to give him, I knew you were going to give him some crap about the 2007 Olympia.
That's why you left.
He saw you coming, he's like, Jay's like, yeah, good time to hit the bathroom right now. And that was a moment that you missed by this much. You're literally this far away from that Olympia title. But you do have an Arnold Classic title. Tell us about that moment when you won.
No, it was great. I mean, that year, it was just the stars were aligned. Everything was perfect. The diet, the training, no injuries, nothing like that. Perfect. Baby on the way. I couldn't complain at all. It was a perfect year, especially getting ready for the Arnold. And nothing better than Arnold handing you the trophy, his trophy. The handshake, of course, always, but Arnold himself giving the trophy, it's history, and I always say, never gets old.
No, it sure don't. And speaking of old, we got some champions over here. I bet they're at that. It's a joke. If anybody caught that one there, he's getting sleepy now. What do you think as you look down this lineup of greats, again, from the first Arnold to obviously today, and some of the champions, and that you follow in the footsteps of these gentlemen that share the stage with you?
Motivation. Every time I see him again, it's just not just Arnold, but seeing all these guys. I mean, Mike Ashley, Rich Gaspari, Sean Ray. I mean, Vince Taylor always. I mean, great attitude no matter what. I don't think I ever seen him angry.
It's because he was eating cheeseburgers while you were eating chicken breasts.
Flex.
Put you in a good mood automatically.
Yeah, Michael. Flex Wheeler, of course. I mean, his shape. I mean, many could try and copy it. Don't. It's not gonna happen ever. So just get over it. Mike Francois always was a big fan, only because his tenacity and again the way he just entered the Arnold and came in and crushed so many guys that were, they were bodybuilding famous, but he just came in and crushed them. And Ronnie. I mean, I can't say enough about Ronnie. Ronnie's just he's a beast. He just goes out and does it. Doesn't think twice. Doesn't doubt himself. He always, I mean, people say, think you're going to win. Ronnie, I don't think had a single fault I've ever losing anything. And, it's just an inspiration all the way through. And even now, he inspires me just with his freaking surgeries. There's nothing that Ronnie does that doesn't inspire me. Just seeing him go through surgeries and bouncing back, making it out here to the Arnold. Most people don't come because they have a cold, and he's here. Ronnie always, he's down.
Victor, you certainly put your mark on the bodybuilding history yourself, obviously, with the Arnold Classic Championship and many other championships throughout the years. What's the future hold? You're certainly not done yet. And now you got to keep going because Dexter keeps raising the bar. So you can't use age as an excuse anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah, can't use age as an excuse. Dexter's a whole other level of inspiration. And most people say I'm done, hey, I'm old. And he takes all those excuses out of the box. I mean, come on, you can't say any of that. So he's definitely motivating me to keep going. Motivates me to stay in shape all year round and not, go way off season like most of us used to do back in the days. And Dexter is just in the level in of itself, as far as always, like Flex said, always consistent and always staying on top. And he was second, but you all know yesterday he was still first, no matter what. Forget the second, he's always first, just being up there. He's up there. Always. And Kai, you guys, I started a long time ago. Kai was already, a champion. And the way he is now, he should have been a long time ago. I keep saying it time and time again. In the IFBB, he would have been a star, 20 years ago. And, he's a big star now. But me and Kai were total gym rats in the gym. I mean, we would work out 4 or 5 hours a day. He would have a bucket of dry chicken. I would have a blimpie sandwich, and in between sets, every once in a while, just play a game of chess. That's what we did. Johnny Last Gym back in the days. And like Ronnie, one of Ronnie's stories I can relate, I wasn't going to continue bodybuilding, but Chris Dickerson's cousin, Steve Dickerson, said, you could be a champion, and he actually got me the gym membership. So I continued. Otherwise, I would have been, somewhere else doing extra security jobs. But
Not there's anything wrong with that.
No. But that, I was just a horrible security guard.
Other than that, yeah. What's this year looking like, Vic? Are we going to see you on stage this year with the return?
Yeah.
Get back in the Olympia stage?
Get back in the Olympia. Always great to be on that stage. Keep inspiring the fans, motivate, my kids. Gotta have my kids see me on that stage. Some of them haven't been watch me there, so it'll be great. And like I said, some of us, up here have kids, but probably I think I'm catching up to Ronnie. Maybe I don't know if I passed him yet, but I have a lot of kids. I know Branch has a beautiful daughter too. Branch always one of the toughest guys in the gym. I mean, after always going to the gym and say, I want to go mean and hard and train as crazy as Branch, but it doesn't happen, because he just kills the weight. I'm more like pet the weights a little bit, Yeah, and Cedric, one of my favorites, always push for him to do great. You know, and something else, you know, he's going up against Dexter and all these other guys with Cedric. Always, you know, always looking up to you and always see you up top, you know. He has his whole life. He's one of the young guys, you know, so I'm worried about it.
Still one of the young kids up here.
Yeah, exactly, you know. But,
Well, Vic,
thank you guys.
congratulations on a great career and continued success going forward. The Olympia wouldn't be the same without the Dominican Dominator there, giving all these young guys hell. So give it up for one of the best, Victor Martinez. It's about time we get you back up on the stage.
Well, I was here last night.
Yeah, well,
I was here this morning.
we need you on here with your posing trunks on. I think is what I'm alluding to, Kai.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, so, how are you, my friend?
Great. Thank you, everybody, for staying so late. I know everybody's probably out there saying, I need to eat right now. But thank you for being so kind.
Going catabolic. Gotta hit that window.
Gotta keep the game.
Oh yeah. Congratulations on your coverage. I heard it went very well. You and Sugar Sean. Hope he wasn't too rough on you on the color commentary.
Man, he's a diva. He's a diva behind the scenes. But no, I got a lot of opportunity to learn. He's really awesome. Absolutely.
Okay, you've really expanded the horizons as obviously a former Arnold Classic champ, Olympia contender for many years, and now it seems like you've taken that next step into anything from movies to production to commercials. We've seen you all over the place on network TV. Congratulations on all your successes.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
And the accomplished artist. I don't want to leave that out because if anybody's ever seen Kai's artwork, absolutely tremendous. I mean, I don't know if you further that more with. Didn't you have your own comic book coming out? Or?
We have a graphic novel. We're going to be making a major release in Comic-Con this year in San Diego coming. So we're really excited. We're in the process of doing some things to actually make that happen. But yeah, I've got a really good team that I'm working with, and I'm just really excited about the project. So yeah, it'll be coming out in this year in San Diego, somewhere on the other side of the summer.
Nice. What did you think about I know you guys are doing coverage, but sometimes you got to almost step back to actually see the competition as it unfolds rather than covering it. What did you think about the results last night?
Man, this was really interesting on Classic this year. A loaded deck, a lot of talent. Yeah, I'm just very excited. I got a chance to sit back and watch and really kind of reconnect with some of the thing that inspired me to love this sport in the first place. I think you got a chance last night to see everybody fight. Cedric was a friend of mine, coming in as a defending champion. And we definitely wanted to see him blow the doors off the stage tonight and defend, last night. And you know what? I felt like Cedric was able to come in and represent really hard. And he fought a very good fight. And I don't feel like there's a loss. I feel like there's a movement, there's a change. But going forward, there's an opportunity to continue to progress and come back. And I love the Arnold Classic stage because it is one of it's probably the stage where the larger dream is the seeds of the dream are allowed to come true. You can water them, you can tend them, and you can actually see them come to life here. As Sean Ray said a little bit earlier, on the other side of this experience, from this stage, it's your career that's able to get a tremendous boost. And even in the other things that I'm doing with the business side of my life, now I'm able to see just how fruitful a victory here can be.
Okay, you've been on the Olympia stage, you've been on the Arnold stage a number of times over the years. Is there this difference between the two fields, between the two? I mean, Olympia is the Olympia, of course. It's grandiose. It's our number one in the sport. But the Arnold has its own unique flavor. Obviously, with the name of Arnold and the history. Do you feel a difference in your history of competing on both?
Well, for me, really interestingly enough, on the other side of this thing, the Arnold Classic is the Arnold Classic. I mean, I've seen it carry such distinction. I've gotten opportunities to do things that I would not have otherwise had, simply because I had this victory to my credit. I remember hearing Vince Taylor say earlier today that life can change after the Arnold Classic, and that is really true. It happened for me. I've seen the miracle of that happen in my life, so I would definitely endorse it. That was very well said.
Yeah, the title certainly didn't hurt, obviously, going towards your career. Let me bring you to present, Kai. Obviously, you've been off the competitive stage for a little while now. Are we going to see a return to you on the competitive stage?
Well, it's very, very possible. Right now, I'm very, very excited.
I think Dave, I think the thumbs up.
Yeah, you know what? I've never stopped bodybuilding, and I'm definitely not retired. 2018 looks a little interesting. We'll see how that turns out. I'm really excited about Stranger Things. I'm very excited about some of the things we're doing with Dr. Muscle this year. And, I have some other pursuits that are really, really important to get done this year. So it'll be interesting to see how the competitive calendar looks, if it's even a possibility, just because we're also doing our first show, the Arnold Classic, and believe it or not, I'm going to get into the arena having a show. I'm going to be a show promoter. So,
Well, you look like a show promoter.
Right.
If this doesn't scream, I'm a promoter, I mean, what does?
I've got a lot to be excited about and a lot to be thankful for, and no doubt about it, the Arnold Classic stage has been a tremendous help to creating that reality for us.
Kai, to see Dexter continue to do what he does at 48, does that broaden that spectrum of, maybe some years ago I would have thought, well, I'm getting older now and I've kind of done a whole bunch of things, maybe I have time to move on, but when you're seeing a guy like Dexter at 48 continue to dominate the stage and put titles in his back pocket, it has to kind of broaden your horizons of, well, look at he's still doing it at 48, so I've got some years ahead of me still.
I mean, if you want to think like that. I mean, also, too, I got a chance to see, like last night, just seeing Dexter in the lineup, he really forces all the other guys that were competing last night to fight and step up their game. So I saw not the Lion King, but I got a chance to see, I hit you up with that Lion King thing all the time, but I got a chance to see Black Panther recently, and I loved the movie, not endorsing it, but I'm just trying to say that there was a character in the film that, in the process, got a chance to, he was another king, that got a chance to stand up and vie for the title of being the Black Panther king. And interestingly enough, he wasn't doing it to serve his own ambition to become the Black Panther. He did it just to test the fiber, of those that would identify themselves as worthy. So I just think that, when you have a statesman like Dexter Jackson in the lineup last night, what happens is it's not a loss. What it does is it helps the other athletes, get a chance to try their test, try their fiber, and see if they are worthy. I really think that was a really good thing that happened last night, and I feel myself privileged to have gotten a chance to see it happen here on this stage.
Absolutely. Kai, you grew up a fan of the sport, as I did, as Sean alluded to earlier. He's a fan of bodybuilding, first and foremost, then a bodybuilder. I know you know your history very well about bodybuilding. When you look at some of the great champs that won this very title that you won, was there anybody that inspired you? Now, you obviously have your own unique style of posing. I think we can agree on. But not necessarily, but you've always appreciated all kinds of posing. Sean Ray is very classical in his posing. Vince Taylor, obviously, opened that door, with the Terminator routines and stuff. But is there anybody that you looked up to back then in terms of their posing and presentation? Was it a Vince Taylor style that was closer to you, or was it a Sean Ray style that was completely classical and different?
Well, honestly, I think if the truth be told, everybody had something to contribute that was worthy to watch and pay attention to. I mean, a lot of times when people think about posing, they'll think about just pretty flashy movements, and call that posing. But, being aware of your technical fundamentals is very, very important. I think what happens is when you got a chance to look at a lot of the veteran Arnold Classic competitors and champions, one thing that they have in common is very strong command and awareness of their basics. Basics are critically important. I remember hearing Flex Wheeler say in an interview when I was a kid, you can't fly, he cannot fly if he didn't have his basics down, if he did not have his basics together. So the fundamentals are important, and I think before you can get to a place where you can be flashy, you have to have solid command of your fundamentals. So yeah, man, I got a chance to watch over and over and over again, the Rich Gaspari's of this experience. I watched Rich Gaspari's posing routine, There's a number of them done at the Olympia that were really, really awesome masterpieces in their own right. They really were. You know, he paid attention to detail, and he really did spend time developing his pose. Like you said about everybody, but you know, when you're looking for it, you can see it. And I think there's a lesson to be gained from each of the athletes. You know, like Ashley, believe it or not, I watched and watched. There's a number of really awesome things that I got a chance to see him do. That, you know, interestingly, most muscular with the hands out, with the one leg forward, flexing the quads. Now, I remember seeing Mike Ashley do it and having a number of photos that actually made the magazine over and over again as one of those amazing just shots that always inspired me. I can do this with each athlete, and I know you don't want to hear me do that because Kai's known for being very long-winded, but I want to say this most of all, that it's athletes like these gentlemen here, these champions, that really helped an athlete like me develop an appreciation for the art and the love, you know, for it. Now, a lot of times today, people talk about they'll sooner, you know, get lost in these conversations about drugs or these other things that are really not bodybuilding. It's not bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is not those things as much as it is the beautiful fundamentals that I got a chance to see and appreciate when I looked at these champions in front of me. I count myself privileged to be able to join this class of elite athletes and, you know, welcome the new on the other end with Will that left and Cedric, you know, and, you know, going forward, man, I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight and being so cool to help us celebrate this experience this year.
All right, thank you, Kai. We're glad to be here. Appreciate it. All right, what's up, champ?
First, I'd just like to thank all of you for coming out, supporting us, supporting the Arnold Classic. If it wasn't for you guys, your support, we wouldn't have an Arnold Classic, so thank you.
You know, Branch, it's great to see the fans out, and I do appreciate you all coming here. And it's great to hear from the governor and Franco, and I love the old stories. I mean, it's great, and especially from the champs. I mean, it's always great to see everybody's perspective. Branch is a veteran competitor on the Arnold stage. As you're quick to correct me, 6 most muscular titles, and including some Arnold Classic titles themselves. And you missed an Olympia by this much. Second place finish at the Olympia. You've pretty much done all you can do when it comes to competing. And I know you've turned your attention to business ventures this past year. Tell us about it.
You know, my last competition was Arnold Classic in 2016, and he doesn't know when to say when. And I got done with the competition, and I talked to my wife afterwards, and I said, you know, I think this is it. It's a good place to step out. And I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. I won every contest in the world except for the Olympia. Got close to doing it, and Jay edged me out that year, and he deserved it. He looked great. So I'm healthy inside and out, and you know, I'm a father now, and so that's a big difference too. Is being a bodybuilder, especially being a champion bodybuilder, you're going to be a selfish, self-centered person because it's all about you all day long. Your training, your diet, your nutrition, your workout. You know, from the time I get up in the morning till I go to bed, the first thought in my mind was whatever competition I was preparing for, and the last thought I thought about at night was the competition I was thinking about, and I dream about at night, you know, winning the Olympia. You know, that's consume my whole day, every day. You know, when you have a family, you know, family has to be pretty understanding. So since I'm retired, I'll become a better husband and a better father. And those are the things to me that are most important in life.
Branch, as you look back over your career, and I want to be quick to point out, when you told me, you know, I'm going to hang him up, I asked you, I says, you know, how do you want to go out? Do you want to, you know, get on the Olympia stage, you know, do the best you can in there, hope for a good finish, we'll kind of get you off waving to the standing ovation. And not that this surprised me because I know you very well. You had no interest in that. You're like, no, you know, I don't need the big send-off. I don't need the big standing. I appreciate it, but I don't really need that. It doesn't shock me knowing you as I do because it's not really your style.
No, you know, like I said, you just don't want to say when. You know, I knew after I did my last competition here at the Arnold that this was good. It was time. You know, it was time to hang it up and move on to the next chapter of my life. You know, we've been very successful with our supplement company. I'm still with Gas, have a clothing line through them. We've had 4 competitions and expos. And Dallas, Houston, Minneapolis, and Chicago I'm promoting. Got a new business adventure I'm about to announce next month, so stay tuned. I didn't need a big send-off. I've been very blessed. I've had a lot of great fans that show me a lot of love, and they still do. So very appreciative to all those guys and girls out there. And I just didn't feel that, I want to go out on top. I want to go out as a top 5, top 6 guy, which I did, and I was good with it.
Branch, I know these gentlemen that are sitting here respect you for a lot of different reasons, but mostly every one of them has had injuries throughout your career. Varying from small to things that are quite substantial. Nobody in this sport has overcome more obstacles and injuries than you have to get back on. You've had a multitude of tears and rips. You tore your quad off the bone, and all that got to reattach. And said, "I'm not done yet." But I just want to give that credit where it's due. That one of the things most admired about you in the sport of bodybuilding amongst your peers is your tenacity and your willingness to not give up and not let injury take you out.
Guys, bad things happen in life. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're a bodybuilder, football player, just everyday life. So when something bad happens, what are you going to do? Quit? You're going to overcome it. And I'll die before I quit. Never quit. And I was in this thing. Like I said, it was a time to say when. I've had 4 surgeries, a lot of other injuries that didn't require surgery over the years. And I never once thought about quitting. The worst one was the quad injury. 30 days out from the 2011 Mr. Olympia. I just won the first Arnold Classic that year. I got second, third previous Olympias, and I was in great shape. And that was the most devastating moment of my career. At that point, I didn't know anybody that came back from that particular injury. I was a grin. Everybody, all the so-called experts, and everybody were seeing my end. But me being me, I just got pissed. So I had surgery on Monday. And Wednesday, I told my wife, I said, you know what? I'm going to do the Arnold Classic and go defend my title. Big Trish being Trish, she was right, you better start eating more. So she started cooking me some chicken and rice. And I went to work. And so that was the best moment of my entire career was the 2012 Arnold. My daughter was born 3 weeks before the competition. So I remember I was in the hospital with my wife, and I was still having to slip out of the train, took my food and bring it back to the hospital. And my daughter was born, and I remember sleeping in the hospital with my little daughter on my chest, eating my chicken and rice, slipping out to do the cardio every morning. I didn't know until I was 30 days from the show if I was even ready to do it. I knew I would compete. I didn't know if I was going to be successful. And 30 days out, which was a week before my daughter was born, I remember looking in the gym and posing. I was like, I can do this. And my daughter was born. 3 weeks later, I went and defended my title from an injury that was a potentially career-ending injury at that point. So sometimes the worst things that happen in your life, in the end, turn out to be the best things that happen in your life. And I look back at that injury as a blessing. It taught me a lot about myself, about perseverance and hard work, and just overcome it.
Very best is the second match, because obviously everybody knows overcoming obstacles. Nobody's going to win every show they ever go in. It's always a tough climb. You're good, everybody complains. You see it all on social media. Oh, I got this, I got that, I got kids, I got whatever. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you're on stage and the judges are looking at your physique. You don't get to submit your resume of what I had to overcome. They don't care.
If you're not winning shows, it's because there's something wrong with your body. So go look in the mirror, figure out what's wrong, go to the gym and fix it. Plain and simple.
I think that pretty much sums it up. Branch Warren, ladies and gentlemen. No, join me.
Hey, look, I'm gonna wrap this up. I know all of y'all ready to go. Everybody hungry. Mr. Coleman probably needs to take some pain medicine or something. I know he hurt. Dexter looked hungry as hell. Bodybuilding is the most superficial sport in the world. And some people do it for superficial reasons. Because they want to make money, they want prestige, they want to be looked up to, they want to be the biggest, most intimidating person, whatever. But there are some people that do it for reasons that are not superficial because they have a genuine love, right? And what's sad is that there are people that have participated in the sport and gave more than 100% to it, but we never have a chance to celebrate them like this because 1% get to call themselves a champion and be able to come to be celebrated. But those lives and those careers
of those people that gave everything are just as valuable as that 1% that actually have a chance to be celebrated. And I think that's important. Now, we can talk about who's Mr. Olympia, who's the Arnold Classic winner, and stuff like that, but when I look out, some of y'all already left, so you're gonna listen to this later. But I see people that have to go to work in the morning. I see people that got off work, took days off to be able to come here, and you trying to figure out how you can manage your money in order to pay your bills, do what you do in the gym, and get your food and supplements, trying to manage family and all your other responsibilities, and then go to the gym. That effort is just as valuable as the effort that we put into what we do. But nobody gets a chance to celebrate that. So I'm here to say that for me, you are Mr. and Mrs. Olympia. You are the Mr. and Mrs. Arnold Classic champions because, think about it. Think about this industry. We help to endorse supplement products and we promote the sport. And we get the privilege of focusing on bodybuilding all day long. And we promote it to people that can't focus on it all day long, And there's some understanding that needs to be put in place for that. And I want to tell you, as a soldier working 12, 14, sometimes 20 hours a day, but wanting to be a bodybuilder, that I understand you. And I understand what your struggles are, and I understand where you come from. You don't compete. You don't lift weights. You don't exercise for superficial reasons. Some of you just do it because you want to be healthy. Some of you do it just because you love it. And that is just as special as doing it for a championship for me. So, and without you, we don't even have a reason to be here. We're here for you. So, I love you, you know what I'm saying? And I was you, looking at these guys and wanting to be like them or wanting to apply their motivation to my life and whatever it was that I was doing. And so that's all I have to say about that. But one more thing, I look at everybody that's sitting up here and all these champions, and some of them gone. And last year when I won, I was able to say something about 8-year-old Cedric sitting on the living room floor looking at TV and seeing Conan the Barbarian. And I remember bodybuilding shows on ESPN. And it's pictures of me at 5 years old flexing muscles. I don't even remember this, but anytime somebody see anything with muscle related, somebody calling me. I'm outside and somebody say, "Hey, Cedric, them bodybuilders on TV." And I run in and I look at them and, amazed by it. And it was these people here, coming from the situation that I came from, and some people up here can relate. I hear your stories. I didn't have an image to look up to want to be like. I didn't have a daddy to teach me a skill or teach me confidence or determination or to teach me how to have a killer instinct or to teach me not to give up or not to quit. I didn't have nobody to teach me those things, so I never was able to develop those. But to see that in these men here gave me something to want to inspire to be in the absence of anything. What am I supposed to do? Just grow up, get a job, help pay bills. That's what it is. And looking at them made me say, I want to be like them. And I want to, I didn't have confidence enough to play sports in school because, if I don't catch the ball or if my shot don't go in, we would be the reason why I lose. And I don't want that responsibility. I'm not confident enough to deal with that. But I was able to close myself off into my bedroom and do my push-ups and sit-ups. And I was able to flip through the magazine. You didn't have money to buy a magazine. The magazines people gave me, old magazines, because they know how much I love it. I'm able to do my push-ups in my room and do my sit-ups. It's a man that my mama in love with he mad today, and he beating my mama up. Now, I'm not strong enough to go stop him, but one day I will be, so I'm gonna do these curls. I wanna kill him, but I'm gonna kill these curls until I can stop him. You know, some people do this for reasons that are not superficial, okay? And all of this comes from seeing these champions, but we all can apply these values to the different parts of our life that we have. When I decided one day, you know what, I can be a bodybuilder, I'm gonna try it. It immediately went back to the 90s and the 80s and the 70s to all of those images that I love. And what I wanted to do was, you know, I watched bodybuilding evolve. As Mr. Ashton said, it evolves, every sport does. But as the sport evolved, my image of it didn't. My vision of what was beautiful in the sport didn't change. And what I wanted to do was represent the part of bodybuilding that I fell in love with. And you know, there'll be a few times with some of these guys I've talked to privately, and I tell them, but now I can just say it to everybody. All I wanted, you know, look, let me say this first. I don't have this killer instinct. I don't have this drive and determination that says, I come to every show to win. You know, I heard that said a lot. Why? Because, man, I wasn't born a winner. Being a winner ain't something that I ever thought I could do. And even still now, I'll be backstage or getting ready for a show, scared, because I know I'm probably gonna lose. And some people will say, well, that way of thinking, you'll never win, you know? Okay, so that leads me to say this. Sometimes the things that you do is not necessarily about the win. It's about the process that you go through to get to the point where you can win or lose. And for me, that's what it's about. Not a superficial reason like winning, but an unsuperficial reason like trying. And some people say the try is not a word. Yes, it is. And I love the try, right? Look, if you dream it, you can achieve it. You heard people say that? I can dream to have a bigger penis all day. It ain't gonna grow, bro. It ain't gonna grow. However, working towards it could make me a better person. It might give me a little something just by trying, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I can improve my technique or something, you know? So I like to try, because trying is what makes you a better person. Trying is what life is about, you know? Trying to achieve something. And let me say this. You ain't got to be Mr. Olympia to be a good bodybuilder, man. And whenever I typed in, I'm telling you right now, it was 2001, I'm typing in old school bodybuilding, classic bodybuilding. And I seen people, and I'm like, okay, he was Mr. Olympian. No, he wasn't. He was Mr. Olympian. No, he wasn't. And I'm saying, man, why all these beautiful bodies ain't never had a chance to be that? You know, and it's just because that's just how life is sometimes, 1%, you know? But it still don't mean that their accomplishments are any less than that 1%. So anyway, getting back to my story, what I wanted to be able to do was, for these guys that have been champions and that have paved the way for us, not even trying to pave the way, they're just doing their thing, they're trying to win shows. Mr. Ashton is, what do you say, tenacious. You know, I'm trying to win. He ain't thinking about no nigga from the hood, living in the projects. He ain't thinking about me. He trying to do his thing. But I'm looking at him while he's doing it. You know, and I'm creating this image for myself that I could possibly be that, you know? So he influenced me indirectly, you know? So what I wanted was, when I do my thing, I'm doing it for them, and I'm doing it as a recognition and an appreciation for them giving me something to want to be in life. And I just hope that they can look at me, you know, and look, man, I got my ass beat all up and down the stage, you know, whatever place you want to name, I got it, right? You know, I lose more than I win, but I hope that they can look at me and say, you know what, man, back when we was doing our thing, he looked like how we used to look at it. He kind of, you know, doing it the way we used to do it. He posed the way we used to do it, so that I can give my appreciation back to them by what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to represent. And so that's what I'm thankful for. And one last thing that I want to say is, don't let nobody define to you what is winning and what is losing. Don't let the social media shit mess you up. You know, we look and we see people and what they do, and we see comments, and sometimes that drives our behavior. But what you gotta do, man, is be true to yourself and let, you know, when all this is finished, and, you know, when we hang our posing trunks up, or when we put our workout gloves in the closet forever, let, you know, what you have done along the way be something that you can be proud of. And be true to that. Not, let me do what's popular so I can get this W. You know, this is what the judges is looking for, so let me try to be that in order. Nah, you be what you want to be. You know, win or lose, be true to yourself, you know? And if you ain't being true to yourself and you just trying to do whatever is going to get you the superficial win, then are you really genuine, you know? So anyway, that's all I want to say. Bye, chick, you got some long ass shoes.